The stock market has been trending higher lately, for the most part. We have pro trader Michele Schneider with us now. And how much does the possibility of a nationwide railway strike threaten the gains in the stock market?
Well, first of all, it could be inflationary regardless of whether it happens or it doesn't happen, because if it doesn't happen, it means that they went to the negotiation table and they raised the wages of the rail workers, which I'm sure is their number one beef. And considering we already have a tight labor market as an inflationary factor, and we have now wages that have to go up in order to keep these workers there, that would have its own impact. Of course, it wouldn't be as severe, though, as if they don't reach some kind of a negotiation agreement and they actually go on strike. It will affect, I think, well over 60% of the rail distribution throughout this country, and stores like Walmart and Target, and then, of course, the rails themselves like Union Pacific. These stores will have trouble getting their goods, and it could create a supply chain issue again. So it would not be welcomed on any means. And of course, a lot of people think that unions should not be allowed to exist anymore. But what's so interesting and something very important to mention is that since 1980, the wages of executives in companies versus the labor force is 1,000 to 1. So while executives continue to get increases in their pay, workers really have not met the cost of inflation. And so, you know, it's a very highly charged and sensitive issue all around.
Michele, the stock market has been holding up, and we do have some new inflation information coming into the market this week. Do you think this is a sign that inflation has peaked?
I don't think that inflation has peaked. I have been one of the few people that really thinks that we're actually entering a second wave of a commodity super cycle. And the 30, 40, or even in some cases 50% drop that we saw from the peak highs is very normal because commodities tend to be extremely volatile. And the reason why I feel that way is, what we just talked about, obviously. But we still have major drought issues around the world. And even if the Ukraine-Russia situation seems to be flipping more to the Ukraine side, we have other issues that are still floating around geopolitically around the world. And we do have drought that has impacted crops and rivers. So I think there's a lot of energy around, sort of, if you looked at the market and the globe in the circle, around it, there seems to be a lot of kinetic energy. And if any of that ignites, that will not be good for the market. And it'll be obviously very, very bullish for the things we've been watching, like oil and energy and food and gold and silver.
Thank you. Always good to know what's happening with your trading strategies, Mish.
Thank you, Angie.
Go to businessfirstam.com for where to see our show on TV.